it's time for them to actually hit hard where it hurts most. They've opened the gap on top of the league. Some 7 points over Real Madrid. Let's look at the fixtures that Madrid has upcoming and also look at that of Barcelona. And my question is very simple. Is it possible for Madrid to catch up to Barcelona? But as we're about to start that conversation, there is a game in the La Liga going on between Girona and Villarreal. And as it stands, and Navarro, no, Partey is not in the game.
Hey,
and Navarro,
Pape Gueye is playing.
We don't care about Pape Gueye. We care about Pape.
Oh no,
I care about Pape Gueye.
Are you from Senegal?
Yeah, he's one of my players. I really like that boy. He's a good player. I like good footballers. He's a good footballer.
You see, when it comes to the Ghana midfield, too cheap.
So there's no Partey.
Yeah, Napoli
and Milan are also in action since we're talking about the Italian Serie A. Yeah, so Napoli are at the Olimpico and they are taking on Milan in that game. 67 minutes gone and it's 0-0.
Let's give the job to Antonio Conte, national team.
Give the job to Conte. Okay, no problem.
That's all.
But
big coach like
quick updates.
Carlo is coaching France. Brazil. And you are
quick update on the BRL game. There's no Partey on the bench as well.
Okay, I think there should be an issue there.
Partey is not on the bench. Yeah, there's no Partey on the bench, and there's no Partey in the game, and his side down by a goal.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the top of the table. Now, the La Liga is a very, very interesting spectacle. I always say this because, the top two have their own race they are playing. Yeah. Then there's the third, and then there's the fourth. There's the third, and then the fourth. They are also playing their own game. And then from fifth all the way to somewhere 12, the points gap is very narrow. Then we have from 12 all the way down to 17, and they also are playing a very narrow game there. But my focus is on the top of the tree. Look, is it possible for Real Madrid to catch up with Barcelona and eventually possibly eclipse them, or they should actually just focus their attention on the UCL? Let me start with Lekem.
Look, once Barcelona have opened a 7-point gap at this point of the season, then I think it's over. The only chance Madrid have is the El Clasico coming up, and I do not think they are going to beat Barcelona in that game. This Barcelona team has goals in them. That's their major advantage. It doesn't matter how many they concede; they are looking to outscore you every game. So if you can average 3 goals a game against them, then you stand a good chance of getting a point. Because they, in their play, believe if they come all out and they open up, no matter how high their line is, no matter how high their defensive line is, no matter how bad their defense is, they are going to outscore you. And that has been their modus operandi. And if you watch them in several of their La Liga games this season, that is how they play. And that is why they have more joy against the teams Madrid struggle against. You understand? Because Madrid, theirs is a different issue altogether. But for Barcelona, they know their weaknesses, they know their strengths. And they believe they can expose their strengths. They can ride on their strengths more than you can expose their weaknesses. The game against Atletico showed the same thing. The only time I felt it backfired on them was the Copa del Rey semi-final, where they played Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
4-0 was just too huge a scoreline for them to come back from. But if you remember that tie very well, in the second leg they won by 3-0.
Yeah.
This team has goals in them. So if you want to beat them, you need to get as far away from them as possible. You understand?
Yeah.
And that is where I do not think Madrid have the advantage over them. Because for Madrid, they go into every game giving the opponent a shot at the game. In that, for Madrid, at any point in time, they can be caught. They can be caught off guard in the game. For Barcelona, they don't care about how many times you catch them off guard. Theirs is, I'll catch you more than you catch me. And with this in mind, and going into the last 7 games of the season, I don't see a way Madrid overturns that 7-point deficit. Furthermore, there's an El Clasico to be played.
Yeah.
And that game is a game I do not think Madrid will beat Barcelona in. So this is why I believe the La Liga is once again going to Barcelona. But there's one thing I've noticed. I do not think Madrid value the La Liga as much as they do the Champions League. And also, I do think Barcelona value the La Liga as much as they do the Champions League. Okay. I think Barcelona have it on the same level with the Champions League. But for Madrid, it's always the Champions League first before the La Liga. And that might be an issue as to why, even during Madrid's dominance periods as a club in the last 20 years, they still are not able to hold to stamp their authority in the league and go on a run like Barcelona do like Barcelona do when they are in good form.
Yeah.
And that's one issue. Maybe it will take a manager to enter them to come into the club and then convince the owners that look, it shouldn't always be the Champions League. In the La Liga, we literally have only one team we are competing against. So that might be an easier tournament to be winning rather than the Champions League. If they do get a manager with that mindset, maybe it could improve upon their dominance in the La Liga. Because as at now, this period, this last 4 years, is supposed to be Barcelona's toughest period because of their economic struggles and all that. But they are coming out of the 4 years, winning 2 La Ligas, possibly 3 this year. That should be a big worry for Real Madrid.
That should be a big worry for Real Madrid. Now, you need to just take a look at the games for Madrid remaining in the La Liga. It will add more perspective to the conversation. So Madrid will be taking on Girona next, and then they play Alavés. They go on then to play Real Betis, and then they would play Espanyol, and then the El Clasico. Yeah. And after the El Clasico, they play Real Oviedo, and then Real Madrid will face Sevilla and go on to play Athletic Club Bilbao.
Yeah, okay, Bilbao, they played Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, to end the season. Ajo, is it done and dusted, the La Liga for Madrid? They should forget about it and focus elsewhere on the Champions League?
And that's where it becomes tricky for them. This is why they need a better coach or a new coach. As compared to Arbeloa. I think he has done a good job. I mean, let's give him his flowers for what he has done so far, because people are expecting him to fail miserably and just get a lot of defeat. But it's Madrid, so you can't just go there and be losing games like that. But the game they lost to Mallorca, it speaks volumes of why they need a coach that can bring them that balance, because there's no way the culture of Madrid, the way Madrid play, their belief, they choose one trophy and leave one. No, it's not done at Madrid. I mean, when you boast of the biggest club in the world, you have to win everything. One thing that they are lacking now, people used to yob them, is what they've not done what before. So they've not done the trouble yet. Yeah, and that's a club that you boast to be the best club in the world in terms of franchise, everything, merchandise, everything. You have to at least one day do that, because if you come to England, United have done it before. City, Pep has done it, right?
Yeah.
Barca has also done it before. So one thing that's beating them is that. So it can come in any given season. Now you have Arbeloa going to this game and make it feel like, see, if he's thinking about the Champions League game. It's against Bayern. They often do well against Bayern and beat Bayern, like when they meet. But when you go into a game like this and you bench key players, look at the game. I watched the Brazil game for Vinicius Junior. He didn't really involve himself much, so you could have started this game and give them some good numbers or give them some impact. He didn't start him. He benched Valverde also. That made it clear. He linked the international break to this game and gave some French players the chance to play. That is the risk he took. But you, as a probably average coach, you have to win games. You have to show us that you can compete with them to get this job or get a better job. But when you go in there, I don't think he's a yes man. I think they leave him to do the job because they are kind of testing what he can do when he's given the real job. So to go into this game and fail and lose this game, it's a big blow for them, because now the La Liga is done. What if you go into the Champions League first leg and you are trashed at home by Bayern Munich, which is that's not looking likely, because they often do well against Bayern Munich. But for me, they shouldn't have lost this game. They were there. Barca can lose at any given time. The way they play, when you catch their highlight, you can really beat them. So to go into this game and lose this game is the reason why he's not going to get the job. So I hope they are looking and trying to get their new coach on board, because if they give him the job and they bring in more high-profile players, or let's say players that are not quote-unquote a Madrid standard for them to come and improve and evolve, he can still not manage them. I was hoping that he will manage Arda Güler very, very well. I'm still not enjoying what Güler can do in those free spaces under any given coach so far. But the conversation about Kylian Mbappe, maybe we'll talk about it in the preview for the Champions.
Yeah.
But quick
I want
one
us to
about
get
him.
there.
I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm not an Mbappe. I respect what he does for football. I respect his talent and he being a finisher and a very, very good goal scorer. I always say what he did for France at the World Cup made me respect him more. Tensioning Messi before Messi won the Mundial. But the conversation around him, it will always go down to coaching. Mbappe needs to be coached well to win. Maybe let's say the Ballon d'Or. Whether he will avail himself to be coached well, it's another question for another day. But the Madrid team, like I always say, I want people to get yourself acclimatized to the fact that Madrid players don't enjoy coaching, but any coach that comes to coach them, they will respect you and they will play for you. So you have to find the balance. Has Arbeloa found the balance? Maybe subsequent in some games he does, but sometimes he doesn't get the balance. And he seems to play well without Mbappe. As he the coach, but a coach has to come in and play like fix the team around Kylian. That's it. Don Carlo did it around Bellingham.
Yeah.
And the Diamond Formation, it worked for him. He found he's an experienced coach who has coached for so many years. Arbeloa is not an experienced coach.
But you see, one of the biggest reasons Don Carlo was successful with that Diamond Formation was Toni Kroos.
Yeah, they had.
And I do think when you have a figure like Toni Kroos controlling the defense and actually controlling these young guys, you could see like he was just the brain. At that point, his legs were beginning to go. Yeah. So you could see in games where Madrid played that this was the brain, and he had this young, energetic guys running around and working for him. So he just it was a lot more easier that way because you had someone who had enormous capacity in his football IQ, and he had these young guys who complemented him. Yeah. So I do think that is still missing in the Madrid game.
So Tchouaméni has disappointed me as a Madrid player.
Oh. I don't. It depends on the role you want to put him in.
Like to explain.
Yeah.
Tchouaméni has disappointed.
You go to the board.
No. Let's verbal.
you explain using verbal diagram.
Yeah, because before we started hyping or talking about names like Declan Rice, like Moises, like
he was the one everyone wanted.
He was the one everybody was chasing. Liverpool went first.
Yeah.
Arsenal passed through Chelsea. Then he chose Madrid. Yeah. Now when he went to Madrid, if you have the holy trio, you have Modric, Casemiro, and Toni. I don't feel like he plays like he has learned from them. He plays like when he goes to France that he learns. When you go to France, you have N'Golo Kante. And Tchouaméni is still playing average or like normal passes in the midfield of Madrid. It's not the best for a club. Like if I'm a fan, they don't really.
Let me catch you there. Quick one. So there's a goal in that game between Napoli and Milan. So Napoli have taken the lead against Milan. Yes. Napoli have taken the lead against Milan. So off the bench and onto the scoring sheet. Yes, off the bench and onto the scoring sheet. Yeah, Politano. Yeah, one of the guys who I think should be doing much better anytime he plays.
Team. They have a lot of good players.
Anytime he plays for the national team, he should be doing
so
better.
not to say he's not a bad player. Tchouaméni is a very good player. Like very, very good. He knows the role very well. Just like he doesn't overdo in the role to be in that kind of conversations. Line breaking passes, progressive passes, cutting the ball cleanly, dominating, and let's see that Tchouaméni has bossed this game without anybody helping him. Every day Valverde will have to be his savior, and it's very, very. I think he had the pool of legends he had at his disposal to do well, to become the best. He has probably joked or played with it. So for me, he has disappointed me in his Madrid career. I think he will be there. Camavinga will leave. I'll give Camavinga a bit of an excuse because he was not playing every season, every game. He was out and out. I think he will leave the club and find somewhere else because he's still quite young, 23 years. Tchouaméni is 26 now. So he will be there. If there's any midfielder that should come in and compete, maybe he has to learn how to play as a box-to-box very well. And probably compete with Valverde. I feel like he has not really impressed me. Because of how that allows you to learn. Because Madrid really planned the midfield transition very well. He had all the three of them there.
Yeah.
So he had all the time.
But you see, not to defend or not to like be an advocate for him or to hold brief of Chouameni. But you see, you cannot give something you don't have. He's just not that player.
Oh, okay.
You understand? You see, he's not the kind of player Adjo wants him to. No matter if he even spends 10 years with Toni Kroos, he's not going to be that kind of player. So I do feel Madrid, in days where they've used him as the kind of player he is, which is that robust at defensive midfielder who is going to be a workaholic for you. He does that. But if you expect him to be that guy who controls the game in the middle of the pitch, he's not that guy.
Wonderful.
What if they have to go into the market? You know, they know who to go for. So I mean, it's not any.
It's obvious. It's obvious the player they're going for.
Don't admit it.
He's not quite as good as Toni Kroos, but it's obvious he's the only one on the market who can give you that. We all know the person we are talking about. You know him.
Oh,
your own boy. Your own boy.
Fernandez.
Your own suspension.
Fernandez.
Internal suspension.
Okay.
But now he the whole catalyst, the weed.
Charlie. The entire portion give
the entire portion he the weed cobam giddy.
But now that we've mentioned
the coach said
now we've mentioned
you say make it do
internal suspension.
Charlie.
But since you have mentioned Enzo Fernandez, let's get into the Enzo Fernandez conversation.